share with you the stories of one man who represented Brunei, East Malaysia and Indonesia at the recent Toastmasters International World Championship Public Speaking Competition in Kuala Lumpur. Please put your hands together for my guest, Dr. Chris Wood. Chris.
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
Good.
Good.
I'm not in competition.
No, you're not in competition. A little bit about Chris. He's currently the Senior Lecturer and Graduate Officer at the Faculty of Arts and Social Science in UBD. And that's his day job. And some of us here have day jobs. At the same time, you're really greedy, aren't you? We want to pursue something else. And you have a passion about, you had a story about this, about speaking, about public speaking. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences with speaking so far? Way before the competition.
Stuart, who is my mentor for the entire competition of Toastmasters, he used to say that you might have just been in Toastmasters for 7 months, but you cheated to get to the competition. Because prior to this, like Liz, like Kevin, I have got acting experience. Many, many years of acting experience in Australia. And so I've used those acting experiences to help me sort of refine my speech. And public speaking for me is recent, actually. I mean, you can assume that going up on stage is some form of public speaking on theatre, but actually just speaking on topics, that's quite new, and it's only really started about 4 years ago, so yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to introduce you, if you've never heard of Toastmasters at all, could I get Chris to just share with us a little bit about what Toastmasters is all about?
Toastmasters is a non-profit organization that helps speakers basically, help individuals learn to speak. That's it, fundamentally. It's about being able to be self-confident. You know how people say that individuals fear dying people fear public speaking more than they fear dying. And when you go up here and you speak in front of people, you know, things just start working abnormally when it comes to your And so public speaking and Toastmasters is to help you control that fear, the illusion of fear when you come up here.
But is it only just about speaking?
No. Toastmasters is also a community. There I found, being a public speaker is quite lonely. It's not something you do with a group of people, you start dancing on stage. No, you go out there, you're on your own, in front of 200-300 people. If you're sick on your own. When you finally join something like Toastmasters, and if you are into public speaking, you realize that you're not alone. You have friends and you've got individuals who share a similar passion and also experience. That's what.
One of the missions that I understand that it's where leaders are found. Would you care to elaborate what that means?
I mean, Toastmasters, there are some tracks that go towards, there's a competent communicator track where you learn to speak. There is also a competent leader track where you learn to be a leader. So you take up roles, for example, being a grammarian or being a Toastmaster of the evening, help people hold competitions, and you go all the way up to, literally international levels, and you become international presidents of Toastmasters. And then you start governing and helping over 300 over 1,000 individuals around the world. So these sort of leadership tracks are also available in Toastmasters, not just speaking.
Thank you. That's my part. I've actually briefed Kevin a little bit more about Chris's experience in Kuala Lumpur. So he's really, can you not see, he's a lot more eager than I am to ask Chris a lot of, he's literally holding his tongue right now. Okay, hang on, Kev, let me just show you my picture first. Okay. So this is very recent. This is a weekend ago. Kev, I know you're dying to ask him a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, may I?
Yes, you may.
Great. Chris, gift of the silver tongue. We heard from a lot of the social media posts that you did really, really well. First of all, congratulations. You've reached the semi-finals and you made it to the finals as well. But can you tell us, especially me, I want to know, because coming from a debating background, having been to lots of competitions, but not to your level where you actually do speeches on an international scale, how was it like reaching the semi-finals?
Where do I begin? It's look. The last time I had a competition before Toastmasters was 24 years ago, when I was a kid, and I was 10 years old. You can start calculating how old I am now. And that time when I was doing the competition, I was doing a judo competition. It scarred me for life. I lost. I was the only one in my whole entire, club who actually lost in that club. Everyone got a medal or something. I didn't get anything. I got a certificate of participation. Right? It was horrible. I lost. And then I told myself I will never, ever, ever, ever do competitions ever again after that. It took literally 24 years later for me to actually go for this competition. And the journey has been spiritual. It's not just, when you do a competition, it's not a winning or losing, it's almost a spiritual journey.
Yeah, and I also heard, Chris, that to get to the semifinals, you prepare one speech where you use that one powerhouse speech that you practice over and over and over again and get yourself all the way up to the finals, right?
Yes.
What's the title of that one speech?
The title of the speech is called Listen.
Listen. Also, ladies and gentlemen, this speech, I have heard the stories of the people who have been with him on the journey to Kuala Lumpur. He made that speech and everybody, well, not most people who were in the room were crying because it was so inspirational, it was so touching. I have not personally heard it, but can you tell us a little bit about the preparation and how it took your focus to actually prepare one speech and to do it over and over again?
Drawing inspiration from the speech was my mother. Listen was about my mother. She had schizophrenia when I was very young. And so at that time when I was a kid, I was extremely talkative. You couldn't shut me up. The teachers used to put cellophane tape over my mouth just to try and shut me up. And even then I used saliva to push open. So I talked my way through a lot of things in life. And when my mother got schizophrenia, that was the only thing I knew. And so I talked and I talked and I tried to talk her out of it. And then eventually I realized that talking was the one thing that made her go crazy. Because everyone tried to talk her out of her schizophrenia rather than listen. It was the one thing that we didn't know. My speech, basically, I said how we failed to help her, to save her from the problem, because we constantly just yapped at her rather than listen. So that was the moral of the story.
And so that speech was the one that came from the heart and it really touched the judges' hearts and everyone in the audience, yeah? And I also heard that competition in Toastmasters, the international world championships, they happen all around the world, but this year they chose Kuala Lumpur, right?
Yes.
So being so nearby, does it help you boost your competitive spirit because you're closer to home? Didn't help for Brazil too.
Competition, it's a very painful process, and everyone's just so, ready to fight, and I'm like, chill,
But still, he got into the finals, and he was there competing with against nine other speakers in the finals. And that's when an interesting turn of events happened, which I personally am not briefed on. I would like to ask you, Chris, about what happened at the finals.
Hands up, tell me when to go.
Well, you're not going to skip this time. This is a tough cookie, I believe. I do not know the story. This is really interesting. I believe he's seeded 8th currently in the world, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Chris Wu. And we really want you to tell us, without leaving the stage, without telling the story, what happened during the finals and what was the story there?
By the time I got to the finals, the short end of the story is simply that I had no script. I never expected myself to be on that stage. Now, all finalists of Toastmasters have to prepare. I mean, if you're doing the competition, you have to prepare 2 speeches. One is throughout the entire journey until the semi-finals, and the last script is for your finals. I thought, what am I going to do with the last script? I'm not going to do anything with the script, because I'm not going to get there. So I never prepared for the final speech. I only prepared wholeheartedly on my first speech. And I won the semi-finals. I I went, oh dear. So when I got up there, half of me was going, oh, thank you, I won. The other half of me was, oh God, what am I going to do? So I started panicking and I started writing my script. I had a general idea of what I wanted to do, so I kept writing and I kept writing. I started in the afternoon, I remember, and I kept writing 7 scripts. I wrote 7 different scripts, and 7 different scripts I flushed into the toilet because none of them sounded good, none of them was right. You know, Sean, he's right behind there, calls me a perfectionist. I don't think I was. I didn't feel the speech at all. By 3:30 a.m., 2 of my friends actually, Zion on school actually, they said, you know, come on, Chris, you can do it. And I just looked at that time. It was 3:30 in the morning. I said, no, I'm not going on this. I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing. I'm not going up there. And then they just looked at me and said, don't dare give up. Right? Just go up there and say something, anything. Just don't not go up there. And then I actually broke down at that time. I had nothing.
But you went up.
But then I went up, and what I did up on stage was that I told the truth. I told them I had nothing. This was the most imperfect speech that I could possibly give my entire life. It was the absolute truth in my heart. And I went up there because I wanted to tell everyone how sorry I was, especially to my friends and family who sacrificed to be with me throughout this journey. But also to tell them, look, being a public speaker is not honesty. It's not about crafting some magical story and just being dramatic. It comes from that.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, when he stood there for the entirety of that entire speech, from what I've heard, people were literally bawling their eyes out at the honesty of his speech. So even if he did not win the world title, he won the People's Champ.
Oh, congratulations.
And I'm sorry.
And the last question for you for now is, what is your ambition?
My ambition is, well, right now my goal is to sort of move forward and hopefully write a book on public speaking, and then also to do my consultancies and training in public speaking. That's long term.
Chris will still be around after this interview, so please feel free to go out to him and talk to him and find out a little bit more about his experiences, his upcoming book, and so much more. Thank you so much, Chris, for your time. Let's give it one more round.